Test data automation, connecting your automation framework with your test data. There are many reasons why test data is so challenging when testing your application. Testers will often spend many hours trying to find the right test data for their testing needs. Data is often required to be consistent across multiple applications, and the big one here is a lot of false negatives occur where a test has failed, not because there's a bug with the application, but because the incorrect test data is being consumed for that test case. This is either a result of test data becoming invalid, testers cannibalizing each other's data, or the test environment becoming unstable. Often what happens is testers will hunt for their own test data for their own purposes with little reuse between each found entity. What we'll be doing here in this video is showing you how you can automate your test data to get the right data in the right place at the right time whenever you run your automation. To do that, we'll be using Test Modeler to define the test scenarios, and we'll also be connecting to VIP Test Data Manager to specify the test data required. With VIP TDM, you can connect to a very wide array of data sources like SQL servers, SAP, Postgres, Solr, Kafka, message layers like XML and JSON, along with mainframe environment, and much more. Once we have the test scenarios and the test data required specified, we're going to be exporting these into Selenium scripts in Java, which can be exported into your integration testing server. When it comes to running the automation, we will dynamically on the fly make any data that we need to, find the data and match them to your test cases, and also allocate them so we avoid the tests cannibalizing each other. The tests will then run on your system under test, and finally we can collect the run results, enabling you to understand what has passed and what has failed. So let's jump in and take a look. What we're going to be testing in this video is creating a new opportunity in our splendid CRM system. So here we've got a little dialogue. There are a few inputs, but also there are some rules sat behind this. For instance, we must give an existing account name that is present in our CRM, otherwise we get an account not found error. And also we must specify an existing campaign, otherwise we get another error, along with some other validation rules sitting behind here. Now in the background running behind this is a little SQL Server database, and what we'll see inside here we have an accounts table which gives us all the accounts that we can look up, and we also have a campaigns table in here which specifies the different marketing campaigns we have running. And you'll see here at the moment we have no data inside our campaigns table. Now the first thing we've done here is we've just created a little model to represent and be able to test the different combinations and different scenarios we can work our way through our create opportunities page. And we'll see here we've split this into positive data and also negative data. So we're going through the opportunity name, the account name, the amount, the different lead sources, the opportunity types, probability, sales stages, and we're coming all the way to the end here where we either end up with a valid opportunity created or we end up in some kind of error state. Now this model took about 5 minutes to build. We have a fast model builder which you can view in one of our other videos. Once we have this model available, what we can then do is we can start overlaying different facets. So because we used our fast model builder here, what you will see is that we have some automation overlaid here, which is going to go away and automate through our web page. Now, the crucial challenge we have here is getting the right test data to support our testing. And that's in two areas. The first one being the account name, because we need an existing account that exists in our system. And the second one being the different campaigns we have running. Now, within Test Modeler, we have a full TDM engine, which enables us to connect to a lot of back-end data sources to find the right data. And if we don't find that data, we're going to go in and make it. So what we've done here is we've built up a little connection to our splendid CRM server. And we've just started to build out a little data catalog with some of the common data scenarios which we're going to want to find or make data for. Now the first one we're interested in here is finding an account name, so finding an existing account. And what we've basically done here is we've just cast some SQL, which is going to go in and just pick out a little random value from our accounts table. Once we have that reusable action specified here, we can come into the model and we can very simply overlay it on top here. So what you'll see here is we have overlaid on top a little test data action that's going to go in and get a name and assign it to an account's name variable. The more interesting piece here comes when we come all over to the right and we're dealing with our different campaigns. So I've just expanded this subflow here, and basically what we've done is we've modeled some of the different campaign types we can have, and that exists as a separate entity as a reusable subflow in Test Modeler. So we'll see here the process that's available, and what we're basically doing here is specifying the different campaigns which we want to utilize in our test scenario. So here we've got 5 different campaign types and we've got 4 different states. If our campaign is in planning or inactive, we're going to end up with an inactive marketing campaign. If it's active or complete, this is something that we're going to want to feed through when we're creating our opportunity. So we've got a valid campaign that we can use here. Now this is a bit more interesting because, as we saw before, in our campaigns table we don't have any data there already, so we need to create some data that we can consume when we run our automation. To do that, we have firstly created a little utility here that will go off and make a campaign. And to do that, we're basically feeding in 2 parameters. We're bringing in a campaign type, a status, and then out the back we're going to return a name which we can consume. Now, sitting behind this, we have used VIP to very quickly create for us a little parameterized utility that's going to go into our campaigns table and create some data. So here we'll see we're in the campaigns table, we've got our different columns, and associated here we've got some rich data functions that are going to go in and create some different data for me. Now the 2 we've picked out here are the status and the campaign type, and what we'll basically see here is we've exposed these as parameters. So when we pass through our make campaign, we're going to inject some data inside here. Now all of this has been wrapped up in our RPA engine, VIP, which has very rich capabilities for finding and making data. Here we've just wrapped this in a little flow which is going to go off to our SQL Server instance to make that data. This model could just as well be connecting to a mainframe environment, performing an API request, or generating some code in the background. So here we've made that connection. So again, overlaid in our model here, we have overlaid these actions to go in and find a campaign by type, by status. If it can't find it, it will make the data, and then it will return the campaign name here, which we are consuming inside our automation actions we've overlaid on the model. Now all I have to do in here is come in and hit the generate button, and that will leverage our algorithms that we have to find the minimum number of tests to maximize coverage across our model. And we'll see here, as I'm flicking through, the different deviations that are passing through our model. And the tests we have here are the minimum number to maximize coverage. Now what we can do is we can go in and we can export our tests into Selenium. So we're just inside a little Java framework here, which Test Modeler has auto-generated all the code you're seeing here for. And what we have here are basically a function for every test that we're running. So we'll see here we've got a number of tests, and within each of these tests we're pulling different test data values from our columns. And for those of you familiar with Java automation, what we're basically doing here is before we run any automation, we're going to go off and resolve our test data, which is going to go into our back-end environment, try and find data. If it can't find it, it will make the data if we have a routine specified. Then what it's going to do is it's going to set the current data that we're using, and it's going to consume this in all of our tests that we have. So let's go off and run our test automation. Now all of our automation has executed, and we're just back inside Test Modeler here, and what we'll see is on the last execution we just did, we had 43 passes and 0 failures, which means all of our automation was successful. If we come back in the model view here, what we'll see now is on top of the paths here, they have been updated with their status. So we've got test passed and also data found. If we go to the results view here, what we'll see are the different data values that have been captured for each of the different find and makes that we're doing. If we also look inside the SQL Server backend here, and we're just looking at the campaigns table, what we'll also see here is that it's gone into our backend, and it has made some campaigns for us here with different names along with the different statuses and campaign types that we specified through Test Modeler. And this is what has been consumed inside our automation, as we can see through our data driving spreadsheet here, where we have our different account names that have been used in our automation, along with the different campaign names that have been pulled from that database. So what you've seen here is a very simple to use way of taking your automation to the next level by automating your test data with it to be able to go in and create reusable catalogs with different test data, which may be either through our interface or some scripts that you already have within your testing team. And then you can bundle all of these up, very quickly overlay them on top of models with your automation, and then next time you run your automation, your scripts will either find, make, or allocate that test data to each of the scripts that we have at play. Thanks for watching this video. Visit testmodeler.io to start your free trial today.